Hello everyone. In this video, you will learn how to import TD curves step by step in Geomodeling software. All products in Geomodeling share the same database and same UI of data importing and exporting. To import TD curves, you need to go to the top main menu, select Import, Well Data, and select TD curves. Then you can choose the TD curve file you have, and please make sure the file type is selected as the TD curve data ASCII file. If you have multiple TD curve files for different wells, you can use Ctrl A to select them all, and then you can click Open. In the first page, you need to select well names. And if you use the well name as the file name, then in default it will use the file name as the well name. If the well is correctly selected, then you will see the well UWI, well X, and Y coordinates are showing correctly. Otherwise, you need to use the drop-down menu to select the correct well for the different files. Then you can click Next. In this page, first of all, at the upper right, you need to define the data separation if it's by fixed width columns or by delimiters. And then you need to define the importing range. From the preview of the spreadsheet at the bottom, you can see in your file the data is actually starts from line number 5. So here, instead of defining as from line 1, we need to change it to line 5. And then you need to set the correct delimiters to separate the data correctly in the spreadsheet. And if you have any double quotes, single quotes, or any other symbols in your original data file, you need to check the checkbox and then to avoid importing those symbols. You can define the column name if it's from automatically defined or is the same as last used. And for the unit names, this is normally for importing completion data. And the most important thing you need to specify is the column name. And for a TD curve file, you need to define the depth and the time. For example, in this case, in our file, we have TVD and two-way time. So we can select the second column as TVD. You can use the drop-down menu to select that. And the third column should be TWT. And because you have already selected the correct well name in the previous step, this fourth column of well name can be selected or not. It doesn't matter. And if in your data file you don't have TVD, but you have other depth data such as TVD, SRD, MD, or Z value, you could also select that with the TWT to import the TD curves. And here, we don't want this last column, which is not specified correctly, so we select Do Not Import for this one. And then select Next. Then in this page, you can define the unit for TVD and TWT. And the unit can be different from the project unit. If it's different, the program will automatically convert the unit to project unit. And this shows the TD file for the first well, and it shows it's connected to this well. And here shows the TD curve datums for the first well. And the depth datum means the elevation at the TVD 0, and time datum means the elevation at time 0. So basically the depth datum means KB and the time datum means the survey datum. So after you make sure these are correct, then you can click OK for all to import all the TD curve files. Then you can see the TD curves have been imported and they are saved under each well's velocities folder. You can right-click on the TD curves and open its spreadsheet to see the detailed data of the TD curve. And in this spreadsheet, you could see the depth datum, TWT datum, and well KB, the survey datum, replacement velocity, and the survey datum TWT offset. And in this spreadsheet, it shows the MD, TVD, and Z value, and also the original TWT and calibrated TWT, and the interval velocity and average velocity. And if you want to change the TD curves at the bottom, you can use this button here to shift depth, shift calibrated TWT, or resample the TD curve. You can also reset calibrated TWT, and if you want to apply the changes to other wells, you can click this button. You can also open a well velocity window to see the TD curve. So you can display the TD curve in this well velocity window. So this is the TD curve for the first well, and you can display the x-axis type as TWT, interval velocity, or average velocity. So you could see the different velocity for this well. And for x-axis type, you can select TVD from seismic datum or elevation. If it's TVD from seismic datum, you can see there is a red point indicates the survey datum elevation. And if you want to change the visualization properties of this TD curve, you can double click on that. And in the visualization tab, you can change the color, size, and style. And also, we can do extrapolation for the TD curve. You can define the two-way time that the velocity will be extrapolated to. For example, in this case, let's define it for 900 milliseconds. And then you can see in the TD curve window, velocity curve has been extrapolated and is represented by this red color, so you can compare it with the original TD curves. You can select this button here to display all the TD curves, and this button here is to display all active TD curves. You can also see the TD curves in well section window. If you open a well section window, and then you can display the TD curves in the well section window to QC the TD curve you imported. This is the end of the video of importing TD curve into Geomodeling software. If you have any question, please send a message to support@geomodeling.com. Thanks for watching.